folder that you want to get started on. Like this is the folder that I want to, and this is where I will keep it. But if you want to start from any other folder, that is also fine, right? So I want to start from this folder. You probably want to start from any folder. You could go inside Flutter, you can create a new folder like that, and you could name it projects, anything you want, that's fine. So let's say we are working from a projects folder. You guys can go and create a projects folder wherever you want. Just make sure your paths are correct. If your paths are correct, you can create Flutter from anywhere. All right. So I created a folder called projects. So I created a folder called projects. Nothing is there, so it's brand new. So I will go from this folder now. So click on wherever you want and then open up command terminal from here, right? And we will open our VS Code followed by code space dot. You can open up your VS Code from this. This is a brand new empty folder, nothing is there, all right? It will greet you with these things, and I'll just close that. Now there is nothing in this folder. We will create our first Flutter project. You can go in your terminal and new terminal, and this is the command that you use, Flutter create, and followed by the name of the app. The app cannot have capital letters, app cannot have spaces, all those stuff. So I don't know, we will, what should we call it? Ratings app, rating app, whatever you want to call it, right? And after that you just hit enter. It will start creating the project for you. So on your left hand side you can see a new folder has been created, right? And then if you expand it, it has so many other stuff. Now if you would like to run this application, you need to be inside that very folder. Right now we are inside projects. We need to go one layer inside. We need to be inside ratings app, right? So what we will do is we'll just change our directory cd rating app, and then you are inside that folder. So anything and everything that you see comes from your lib inside your library main.dart. So Dart is the choice of application. This is the code that we are modifying, all right? And you guys should have an Android emulator set up, and which will usually be at the bottom here. If you can see my mouse right now, it's set as Windows. It would not work because we don't have Visual Studios installed. So we'll go ahead and start our mobile device or virtual Android device, right? So you can click on that. It will give you a list of things that you have already initialized. This has to be done inside your Android Studios. Cool. So we have done that multiple times over the course of 4 weeks. I have a Pixel 9 that works well for me, so I'm going to choose that. Cool. So it's going to launch the emulator. Let's just wait for it, and you have that emulator is there, and it always inherits whatever the last application was. So I'm going to remove it. So I'm going to start off with clear thing. So it's a good idea to keep your phone on left hand side and your IDE on the right hand side based on where you're looking at. So I will just move these things here, and your phone might be small or big, so adjust the size for that yourself. So I'll keep it on the side and increase it like that and reduce this one. And that is fine. I'm happy with this. So let's run this application, whatever that was already there. All right. So you can just go here and start debugging. And it will probably turn orange or blue or yellow depending on how you have set up your IDE. And for the first time, it will take some time to pop up on your screen. Cool. So this is a Hello World application that was already given to us. We didn't write a single line of code. We will change a lot of things here. So it does take some time to come online, and it might still show your previous application. We need to give it a restart. And now if you hit debug, you will see this tab here, and that is exceptionally important for us. That allows us to restart our application, stop our application, and once we change something, it will also show a lightning button, which is the hot reload feature for Flutter, right? So it does take some time to come online. So we'll just give it some time and follow along with me. So bring your Hello World application online, then we can start working on other stuff, right? So it has come online. So it'll probably still show a previous version of the application that we already had. So we'll just give it a restart and it will come online. Cool. And did not show anything for me. So this is the base Hello World application for Flutter. Alright, so it has a title bar here with some text. Some text here, some number here, some buttons here. Alright, and once you click on the button, the counter goes up. And this brings us to today's lecture. If something does not change, if it's going to be static, like your title bar, it's not going to change anytime. Even this text, it's not going to change. The button is going to stay the way it is. The only thing that is going to change is this number. Once you click on it, the number is changing. So if something does not change in Flutter, those are stateless, which means always the same, never going to change. And if something changes, then that is stateful. Cool. So quick crash course is everything that you see on the screen right now are widgets. Key term widgets. Everything is a widget. The app bar, that's a widget. The text that is inside the app bar, that is also a widget. This body, also a widget. The text inside the body is again a widget. This number is a widget. Sorry, this button is a widget. The plus sign that you see is again a widget. So everything is a widget. So depends on what kind of widget do we want. Stateless widget will not change. Stateful widgets will change. Last week we have already done stateless widgets. So this week we will do stateful widget. But if you missed it, we will use some stateless and some stateful widget. Alright? And I will draw the widget tree here, but you can also see the widget tree as soon as you start debugging. You can see your widget tree is rendering on the left hand side. As soon as we start adding it, it will show up here. Probably in the call stack. It's still coming up, so let's leave it. So what we will do today is rating application. So the rating application will look like this. Alright, so I will draw the widget tree first. The main app or the root. We will have a root widget that encompasses everything. From the root, we will start a scaffold widget. Cool. Scaffold widget allows us to make use of the material app. Let's draw a bigger widget. So root, we start with the root widget. Root widget for us is the material app. From the material app, we are going to pull scaffold. Also, since we are drawing, let's understand the drawing first. There is a title bar here, 3 stars and a button, and also some space here, right? So I will list all the widgets that we have. Inside the scaffold, we will break off. We will have an app bar. Is this thing, app bar on top. Inside the app bar, we will have some text, obviously. So text widget. Done. Now comes a trickier part. See, now we are putting 3 stars side by side, and you could see that each of the stars were clickable, right? And we have a button at the bottom and stars at the top. So we need a column first. So we'll get a column widget. Column is just a layout, format of layout. So if you have a column as a layout, you could align the elements one after another. If you have a row, one next to another. So we are creating a column that will have these stars, this space, and this button, 3 things. Alright? So inside the column, what do we have first? Inside the column, we need 3 stars. The stars are next to each other. So we need a row inside the column. So we will have a row. So inside, we will have a row inside the column. Then inside each row, what do we have? We have the icons. So, but the icons are not clickable. Icons cannot be arranged in this fashion by default. So we need to wrap them in a container. So inside the row we have container. 3 of them. Inside the containers we have the icons. Also, that is the first child of the row. Sorry, first child of the column. Now we have a space bar. We cannot just put space. We cannot just put enter. So we will need a sized box. So that will be an empty box. We can control the height of that box. What is the third thing that we have? Then we have a button. Right? This button is elevated button. And it's not here. Let's call it a button for now. Inside the button, what do we have? We have the text inside the button. So these are some of the things that we need to create. What are the things that will not change? The root is not going to change. Material app is not going to change. The rest of the things, even the app bar will not change, but these things are all going to change. Right? Since these are the children of the scaffold, the only thing, this will be a stateful and this will be a stateless application. Sorry, widget. So let's go and start building that. Alright, so what we are going to do is we are going to delete everything, remove everything, and you can leave my app as it is. But there is a reason for that, we'll come back to it. So we're going to delete everything. Now we will create our first stateless widget. Cool. How do you do that? You could just go STLESS and it will just give you the option and hit tab. It creates a widget for you by default. Cool. So let's create that widget. Right now it's throwing an error. It's saying that my app is blah blah blah. It doesn't exist because we deleted all of it, right? So let's go and create my app, and that's going to remove all the errors, right? So we created our first stateless widget that covers everything. Now we will just look at the widget tree diagram and start building the widgets in that order. Pretty straightforward. Let's create the material widget first. Material app. So here they are just returning a placeholder. We want to return a material app. Let's return a material app. Cool. So you will get a material app. Let's expand it so that we can add stuff in the material app. Material app already has title and body and home. So we'll add a title. Cool. We'll add a title. Title could be, this is a rating app. Cool. So that is the title. Sorry, it's not the semicolon. We use commas here. Alright. And then we have a home property as well. Now we could write everything here. In the home we could return scaffold in the home and then put app bars and stuff. But that doesn't make a lot of sense because our app bar will have to be a stateful widget. So what we are going to do is we are going to use classes. We are going to separate them into different classes. Alright. So in the home, we will return something. We will return a custom class here. We'll create a custom class called like rating box or whatever, and then pass it inside our material app. Cool. So we'll create a home here, and I will just create a class, custom class called rating box. Cool. I mean, we haven't defined rating box yet, so it doesn't work. So we could have returned the scaffold here. Last week we returned the scaffold here itself. But now I'm showing you how to make your code reusable. We'll create a separate class at the bottom and reuse it wherever we want. We will create a rating box that has this part of the application. That will have a scaffold, that will have an app bar, that will have all of these things. And one more thing, it will also have these two options. Stateless widgets are super easy. You just build it and it's drawn on the screen, nothing else. You don't need to worry about anything. But for stateful widgets, you will need to create it. I should probably speak when I'm here, I guess. We need to create it. First, we need to create a stateful widget, then set the state of the widget itself. All right? But if this is too fast, let's go and render something very simple on the screen. We will not break it into any other class. Are you guys doing this with me? I mean, you should be doing it. Please. I mean, if you listen to it, it doesn't make sense. Then we will return an app bar or something, app bar, followed by app bar. We did it last week. App bar has a few things like a title. This is an app bar, something like that. And see, when I'm typing this, it does not work, right? So argument string cannot be assigned to blah blah blah. Why? Because we cannot just type in the text. We cannot just put in the string. It needs to be a text widget. We can't just type, this is an app bar. It needs to be a text widget. Now we are going to delete it very soon, but I just want to show you the changes. So you cannot just type it. You need to pass it inside a text widget. Cool. This is how it goes. Let's save it. And you can see that on top you have the app bar. Control S. And it doesn't look very good, so you could add some background color. Like so. Like that, probably. Save it. And then you can see that it has a background color on top. But this is not what we are trying to create. We don't want to type a bulk load of code here. What we want to do is we want to segment this drawing process at the bottom. So that's why I'm going to delete all of it. Create a stateful app at the bottom. Alright? Once you're able to do today's tutorial, and if you can finish ratings and a bonus thing that I have planned for, you should be able to finish your assessment as well. Cool. Your assessment is a unit converter app. We will create something that converts centimeter to feet. In your assessment, you will have to do Celsius to Fahrenheit and centimeter to feet. Two things. Probably you will have to be aware of null safety, type safety, and some conditional kinds of things. But if you finish today's, what do you call it, lab or whatever, you should be able to at least finish 90% of your assessment. It might not look good. It might not be something that will give you like 60, 70, 80% marks, but you can still score a 50, I guess. All right. So I'm not going to do that. I don't like this, so I'm just going to remove it. Because I want you guys to pay attention to this one. See, this is where the app bar ends. This is where the scaffold ends. This is where the material app ends. Now it's going to look very bulky. That's why just pay attention. I'm going to delete all this thing. And now home needs some kind of identifier. I will pass it our custom class that we are going to create. Alright, so it's going to be called rating box. We'll call it rating box. And now the only problem is rating box has not been defined anywhere. So let's go and define our rating box. Now this is where we divert away from our last week's lecture. This is where we will play with stateful applications. Rating box has 3 stars that can be clicked. Has buttons that can be clicked. I mean, clicking does not make it stateful, but when you click on the star, we are changing the color, we are changing the rating, right? And when you click on reset, you are rechanging it. So what happens in Flutter is, I'll probably stay here. What happens in Flutter is when you change something inside the stateful app, the build method is called once again. So you can see the build method here. Build method, I showed you where the build method exists inside the stateless widget. You could just take your mouse here and just go shift enter, and then you can see all the code that comes into creating a stateless widget. So what happens is Flutter calls the build method and draws it on the screen. What's happening on our demo application that I showed you? When you click on the star, what's happening? The computer does not know that we are just redrawing the star. It doesn't know. We are using trick. We are changing the icon when you press on the button. So we are redrawing everything. So what happens in stateful app is when you change the state, when you set the state, we redraw the application. So the Flutter will look at whatever is different and redraw it on the screen. Cool. So some things that you might have to understand. All right, so let's go and create our stateful widget. It's pretty simple, stful, and as soon as you type it, it's going to give you stateful widget. Just hit tab and it will create everything for you. And we are calling this rating box, right? So let's call it rating box. So it automatically changes everywhere that you want. Now, stateful widget already has a lot of things inside. Already defines how it should be drawn. Now, if you might be a bit confused when you're looking at keys. So keys is something that tells Flutter what has changed. If this value of the key has changed, then redraw it on the screen. Otherwise, just leave it as it is. Save the processing power. Now let's understand the stateful widget. Stateful widget has a create state function or method or whatever you call it. This is what is called when you are redrawing on the screen. See, rating box states stateful widget, and it draws something on the screen. Now it doesn't just draw the diagram, it will recall another class that does the drawing for you. So this is the class where you set your states, where you create stuff. So first things first, let's create the UI. It's not going to work, then we will change other stuff. All right, so let's go and start building our application from here. Cool. So we will start passing a scaffold, we will put an app bar, we will follow that directory where we are creating, I can't say anything, we are creating a column, then column has few children's, row is a children, then row will have few children's, row will have blah 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 stuff. So we'll go and create that and then change stuff as we move along. All right, so are you with me here? Are you with me? All right, so what did you miss? This creating, this one. All right, so I'm going to delete it, and all you have to do is stful. It will show you that this thing, and just hit tab, then it will create the blueprint for you, and then go rating box. I really recommend everybody to do this. Please do this if you want to learn at least. You can do that as well. I'm recording the screen, so I will send it to you.
Where are you uploading?
For now, nowhere,
Where?
because I forget, and nobody asked me, so I think you don't need it.
Please upload it.
Yeah, send. I record it, so yeah, just send me an email. Hey, give me the recording. I will upload it.
You are
But
recording of all the classes, or just today?
I'm not sure. Like sometimes I speak over there, sometimes I speak over there. So probably the voice is not there.
Voice doesn't matter.
Yeah. So today's, at least, even if I didn't record anything, today covers a lot. So I will upload this one if you send me an email, because I will 100% forget. I have already forgotten right now. So, all right. So it will give you something like this. So first we will draw the tree of the widgets. Then we will make it function. All right. So what are we doing? We are returning a scaffold. Let's return a scaffold. After you type in the scaffold, you will get that. All right. So let's return the scaffold. Inside the scaffold, we want to return an app title or something like that. App bar. We call the app bar. So I would suggest you guys to, like, it will show you something like this. It will show you something like this. I want you guys to expand that so that it makes your code easier and clearer to read. We will give it a title, and title also expects a test. And what are we making? We are making rating app. Cool. So we will use the hot reload function. Just save it, and this is up here. So let's make some changes to that rating app. Let's add some background color. I mean, it doesn't make a lot of sense to add a color here, but anyways, colors dot amber, yeah, that's fine. So let's save it, and it pops up there. And we want to bring our title to the center, so we will use another widget called center title, and you will pass in the value of true and save it. It pops up here. A few things if you want to give it a different font. We did it last week. So inside the text app, you could add another parameter. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to expand this text widget. Cool. And I will pass it a value of style, and I will give it another widget called text style and pass in value of font. Font weight, I will make it bold, I guess. Font weight dot bold should do the trick. It should make it bold. Center title. We give it font. You could make it whatever you want. Font weight dot bold. I will save it. It will probably be bold. I will also increase the size a little bit. So that is how you type in, right? You have a text widget. You pass in the value. Then you use another widget to customize that value, alright? So this is all recaps from previous week. So we will not spend a lot of time here. Size probably 24. Save it. It will probably grow 24 or 30, whatever you want. And I've already shown you how you could bring in your own custom fonts. We will not spend time on that today, at least. We will change the font color or color, make it white, I guess, and save it. And that's all that we are going to do. Nothing else. So very simple app bar that we created on top with multiple things. So I want us to look at the app bar and start inferring some things. See, app bar is a widget. Inside app bar, we are using another widget called text. Inside text, we are using another widget called text style to customize that text itself. And we are passing in some other values for the title. Alright, so title is done, app bar is done. And how do you know where to stop? You can see where my mouse is at. It tells you where the app bar ends. So that is where we will go and start our body. Alright, so place your cursor just next to the comma and hit enter. Then you can start working on something else. So as soon as you type in the other property that we did last week, it's body. Body here. So now we'll start adding values to the body. Now this is where we will have to start thinking. I will wait for you guys until you are here. So there will be so many widgets that I'm going to throw at you. Don't be overwhelmed, alright? So we have a simple stuff here. Now we will go and add stuff in the body. Now this is where we probably left off last week. We did play around with the font. We played around with the images. Now is where we will start with layouting. Alright. So what we want to do is I'll use my mouse so that when you look at the recordings it's something that you can see. So here what we want to do is we want to create a star. 3 stars. We want 1, 2, 3 stars here. Right? 3 stars are next to each other. And we want a button at the bottom. Cool. So what we are going to do is we are going to create a column first. Alright? So we will create a column like that with 2 entries. We'll create a column with 2 childs. Inside the column we will create a row with 3 childs. The first child will have 3 childs of row. Second will only have a button. That is the goal. Alright, so now is where we start thinking about the layout. So inside the body, we will use column. So as you type it, you will see column. That is one of the layouting techniques. So now your errors should be gone. Alright. So now let's get started. Inside the column, what do we want? We want a row of 3 things. If you put 3 stars, let's put 3 stars and what happens? So column has children, right? Column has children. And now we will put 3 things inside the children. We could put icons, icon dot icons dot there are so many icons that we can keep. That is one children. Let's render it on the screen so that it pops up here. See, you can see icon. Although it's very small, you could see one of the icons. Cool, so go ahead and start putting icons. Size will probably give it 50. So it grows a little bit. Cool, so we put one icon. So I'm just going to copy and paste so that we understand how columns look. Paste here, and save. So you can see that if you use column layouting, your stuff or the children will be one after another. But this is not what we want. We want the stars to be next to each other, right? So what do we want? We probably want a row inside the column. Because if we just keep row, yeah, we have 3 stars, but then we have to draw a button at the bottom as well. So we need to think in that fashion. Alright, so I'm going to remove all of this. So we'll first create, what do we need inside? We need a row. So row is a child of column. Cool. And row will also have children on its own. And I want you guys to put in the comma here before it throws any error and you cannot solve it at the end. Alright. So let's go and do that. Inside the row, put in 3 stars. How did we do that? Icons dot star underscore border will give you a star that is not populated. Give it a size of 50. Come on. So we'll give you a star over there. So your job is to just replicate 3 stars that are next to each other. But now, when we go back to our widget tree diagram that we drew, these icons will not be clickable. Alright, so that is the reason why we need to wrap them inside the container and pass in the icon button. Alright, so yeah, this is how you could create 3 of them. Then you have 3 stars, but now they are not clickable because they are just icons. We need to make them buttons so that we can assign a function behind that button. Cool, so this is how you can create it, but it's not going to serve you a lot of purpose. So what we will do is we will create a container. Alright, so what we will do is, I'm going to remove this. We will create a container, which is another form of layouting. Now I want you guys to put in the comma as soon as you create a widget, otherwise it will be too confusing. We will create a container. Right? And the container will have a child, like the text, like the app, what do you call it? Like the app bar, it has a child of text. So the container will have a child of icon button. Alright. So probably too fast, so I'm going to remove it. So what we did was we will create 3 containers, 3 separate containers. Alright, so let's go and create a first container. Open it up, finish it off with comma, otherwise you will be lost in the comma world. In the comma world, I guess. Yeah. Somewhere. Cool, so what we will do is we will give it a child of icon button. Cool. So you will give it a child of icon button. And by default, see, this is where today's topic will come into play. We will go back to our presentation slides. In today's topic, we are talking about gestures. Gestures in Flutter. Gestures means tap, hold, swipe, pinch, zoom, all of that. So we are doing 2 or 3 activities at once, right? So we passed it a child of onPressed. I'm just going to clean up the code a little bit. I'll bring this down so that it's cleaner. So now onPressed is taking a function of onPressed that does not exist. So I'm going to remove it and make it null for now. That should solve the first problem, right? So what happened here was we created a container, and then inside the container we passed in a child called the icon button, which has these things, these parameters. What happens to the icon button when you press on it, and what is the icon that you want to render on the screen? For now, nothing happens because we haven't defined any function. So we'll go and define the icon property. All right. So I'll wait for you until you are here with me. Right. So please follow along, and you can go and replicate the example, and then I could just copy and paste and send you the code as well, so you can go and render it on your at your home or whatever. Cool. So it takes an icon of something. So we'll give it a icons dot star border. That was something that we were creating. Cool. It's throwing some error. So icon, yeah, probably. So create the container. Right now, no function is assigned, and then we will go and assign something. All right. So we'll save, and there we have it. A star is there, and that star should be clickable. Right now nothing happens because we haven't defined anything. So what we will do is we will copy and paste it 3 times inside the row. So we have 3 stars next to each other. So just copy the container, paste, paste, and save. There you have it, 3 different stars. Cool. So now we will play with some more properties of the container itself. So inside the container, we will pass in padding, and we will pass in a padding of 0 all around. Go ahead and save it, and we'll copy and paste this parameter in all of the containers. Here, here, save it. So it gives you some spacing, although it's not very visible. You could probably pass in a value of 10. And then it looks pretty split apart. So we'll just give it a value of 0 for now. Also, we have done that. Now the star doesn't look very good because it's up there. We want to probably increase the size. But we want to play with the row child. We will increase the padding of the row. We will bring it at the center. We'll do all of those things just for the row. All right. So you have to bring your cursor inside the row here. You can send the children at the bottom, and we will add some parameters here to change the padding or stuff like that. So first, let's add a padding here. We'll give it a value of 10. Padding is not defined. So padding probably padding. So even if you don't know it, you could start typing and it will show you whatever parameter that you want to add. Cool. So first, let's finish the 3 containers with the icons so we can go and click on them and assign a function. I can get a job. I guess. So are you with me with the icons? So in the row, padding does not exist for row, alright. So we might have main axis alignment, yeah, so you can choose that. So it will allow you to put your childs of row wherever you want. How do you want to do that? You probably want to take main axis alignment as a widget and then space them evenly, and after you save it they will just go there. Probably this is one of the ways to do it. Alright, so after that we are done with our rows. We probably want to increase the size of our icons a little bit. That can be done inside the icon here. So we will give it a size, icon size of 20. Go ahead and change the size for all of the icons, and then we will move on. Alright, so we have created the first draft, like how our application should look like. There's one more thing that is missing, which is a button. So let's go and add a button, give it some text. Nothing happens when you click on the button as of now. Alright, so where do we keep our button? After the row, right? So we'll just go wherever the row finishes. This is where the row finishes, so we'll come down here and we will add our another element. So elevated button, that is how we do it, and then we will give it a comma. It's throwing you errors because right now we don't have onPress function defined, so we'll give it a value of null. That should fix it. And for the button we will give it a text of reset ratings, and then hit save, and there you have it. You have a button. You could probably customize some more colors and all those other stuff for the button, and make sure you are inside the elevated buttons at all the time. Save it. There you have. That looks very ugly, so I'm going to remove it. Put it here and save it. So I'll wait for everybody until we are in this position. And let's revisit the code. We started our main application. We are running our my app from that application. Then we created a stateless widget called my app. and did a few things, passed in another stateful widget. We came down, created a stateful widget called rating box. Then we are defining what the rating box is going to look like. That is it. That's all that we are doing as of now. So 20 looks very small. Let's put 50, I guess. I'm just making few small changes to that. That's it, nothing else. So we have a bare bones application that was there before. Alright. So we just created how the app looks like. We use different layouting techniques. We use columns to put them underneath and rows to put them side by side. Alright, so now we will dive into today's topic, which is all about gestures. What happens when you click on the button? What happens when you fire a function behind the gesture? What happens when you long tap on the button? What happens when you zoom on the screen? And all those other things. So I'll wait for you guys to be here. After you're here, you should be able to at least design your application, right? So right now our button looks very close to the row, so you could go and add another child to increase the space. It's completely up to you. So I'm gonna do that. I'll just add a sized box so that the button goes at the bottom. I'll give it a height of 25. And then the comma should fix it, so the button should go down. So in Flutter, you need to add some empty boxes behind the elements so that you could arrange them neatly. So if you want the stars to come a little bit at the bottom, so I'll go and add another element here, called another sized box, so that the stars can come at the bottom. And it's 25, and then you could just go and add. So the stars should come a bit below. I'll probably make it 50. Also, that is how you can increase or decrease the size of the buttons. Alright, so let's save it, and that is it. That's all we have. So let's go and start working with the stateful widgets. We have already created the layout. Layout is done. We followed the widget tree. Nothing new. Everything that we did before. So now let's dissect the logic. What do we want to happen? When we press on the star, it should turn red in color. And when you press on this star, we should have two of them turn red in color. And when you press on the third star, you should have three of them turn red in color. And when you press on the button, you want all of them to revert back to whatever colors they were at. So what is the keyword? If you press on this star, it should be red. If you press on this star, it should be, two of them should be red. If you press on the third star, three of them should be red. So obviously we are going to use if statements somewhere. Alright. So let's jump into the second half, state management. After we do that, we will build a similar application for our assessment, and that should set us up. So now let's go inside our rating box scale class, the first class, and that is the class where we will start creating functions and assigning them to the buttons, right? So at the bottom you can see we have created buttons, but they don't have any functions behind them. So when you press on the button, nothing happens. And we will define something that happens here. Alright, so my train of thought is I will create a rating variable, give it a value of 0. When the first star is pressed, I will give it a value of 1. When the second star is pressed, I will give it a value of 2. When the third star is pressed, I will give it a value of 3. And when the reset is pressed, I would give it a value of 0. I will just change it back. So I will create 3 different functions and conditionally change the color of the stars. So what I'm going to do is, when you press on the first star, rating will be set to 1. And before we draw our icons on the screen, I will write a conditional statement here. So if the rating is 1, draw a star icons. Okay, look at this one. So if you put star underscore border, you get an empty star. If you put icons dot star, you get a filled in star. Cool. So if you put icons star underscore border, you get empty star. If you just put star, you get filled in star. So what I will do is I will compare. If rating is 1, I will change the icon to icon dot star instead of border. If rating is 2, I will change it for 2 stars. If rating is 3, I will change it for 3 stars. That is what I'm going to do. Since first container is the first star, if rating is 1, I will change it to icons dot star. I will come down here and I will check. If rating is 2, I will make this one dark as well. I'll come down. If the rating is 3, I'll make that one dark as well. So that is how I'm going to conditionally render them on the screen. Cool, so I'm going to leave them as it is, empty, all of them. So now let's go and create that variable. Here, inside the rating box state, because this is where you are drawing your stuff. I'll go and create a variable called, I will give it a value of integer, I will call it rating. I will give it a value of 0. So this will just be programming now. Nothing related to Flutter, just programming. Cool. I created a variable, gave it a value of 0. So I'll create a function when fired, we'll set it to 1. Alright. So how do we define our function here? Function for setting values. Cool. So let's go and define the function. How did we do that? We did some Dart programming in week 2. In fact, we spent 3 hours doing Dart. And we created some functions as well. So we should be able to do this. Let's create a function. How do you start it? You start with void. That was one of the questions in your quiz as well. I will name it set I will call it set rating 1. I'll just call it that, set rating 1. So as the name defines, it will set the rating as 1. Cool. Open up the function, close the function, that's it. Function number 1 is done. Let's go and create another function that will do set rating as 2. Third function, set rating as 3. Set rating as 2 and set rating as 3. This is all from week 3. Nothing is new here. So we'll create 3 functions. One that sets rating as 1, sets rating as 2, sets rating as 3. It's not doing anything as of now. Alright, so this is where second part of stateful applications come into play. We created our widgets. We drew it first. Now we will need to set the state of the widgets. Alright, so we will use set state function to set the value of rating. And every time rating changes, it will be redrawn. Alright, so that is the logic behind it. I will probably just repeat it. Create will draw. Alright, so let's go inside our build method here. This piece of code draws the UI once. When you open your screen, it is drawn. And if you set a state, like what's happening is set state will be watching at a variable. Whenever that variable changes, we will redraw the screen. So we are going to change that variable 3 times. When you press on the star 1, we will change the variable. And the system notices that the variable has changed. So it will redraw the UI on the screen. So we are going to do that 3 times. Rating as 1, so we'll go here and set the rating. Set state. That's the function that we're going to call. So if you pass a variable in the setState function, Flutter will keep on looking at that variable. Whenever that variable changes, it will redraw the UI. Cool. So if you press on the star once, we will change the variable. UI is redrawn. We will change it twice. It's redrawn again. All right. Set state. Nothing. Simple. We will set it to rating to 1. That's it. We are going to do the same thing. If you fire the second function, we will set rating to 2. If you fire the third function, you will set rating to 3. That's it. So we need to first understand, like, I know the functions are there, but we need to understand why the UIs are being redrawn. Because if you set a variable inside the setState function, Flutter keeps on looking at that variable. Whenever the variable changes, it will redraw the screen. That's what's happening. All right, so we have done everything that is needed. We have set the rating as 1, set the rating as 2, set the rating as 3. But the only thing that does not change, like even if the rating is set to 2, nothing changes here. If you set it to 3, nothing changes there. Because we haven't done conditional rendering. Alright, so now what we will do is, we will look at the rating. If we will compare here. So before we draw our icons, this is where we are drawing our icons. Right now, there are no conditional statements. We always draw icon called stars underscore border. We always draw that. But we need to keep a if statement here. If the rating is 1, we will draw icons dot star and leave the rest as it is. If the rating is 2, we will draw icons dot star, leave the rest as it is. So we will use if statements to do conditional rendering. Alright, so before we move on, I want you to look at this thing. Here, I want you to look at ternary conditional in dot. That's just a fancier way, neater way of writing conditional statement. So you will see something like this. We will use a condition. If this is true, then we will render the first expression. Otherwise, we will render the second expression. This is a better way of writing conditional statements. You don't have to write a lot of code. So in that, what you can do, even in JavaScript, you can do that. You will write a condition. Hey, if this is true, render the first expression. If this is false, render the second expression. So what are we going to do? If rating is equals to 1, we will draw icon dot star. Else we will draw icon dot star underscore border. Alright, so let's go and do that. So it's a shorthand expression. It's like arrow function that we use for writing function in a single line. You can use ternary operator to use conditional in single line. Cool. So this is where we have to make our changes. Anytime the rating is different, we will render something else. Otherwise, we will render something else. Alright, so let's get started. Rating is greater than or equals to 1. Question like that. So condition number 1. If rating is greater than 1, draw icon dot star. Else draw icon underscore border. Right? So go ahead and do all of that. If rating is greater than 1, you will draw icons underscore star. Otherwise, you will draw icons dot star underscore border. Cool, so we are just using a trick. We are tricking the computer. What happens now? You press on this button, rating will be set to 1. After this function is fired, we will come down to next statements. Hey, is the rating greater than 1? Yes, then we will draw a star. No, then we will draw a star border. That is how we are tricking the UI and tricking Flutter. We are not redrawing it, we are not filling it, we are just replacing it with another icon. Alright? Same thing will happen for all the other icons. I'm just gonna copy it and paste it here. Third icon, I will copy it and paste it there. Obviously the second one will be for 2-star rating, third one will be for 3-star rating. If you were to save it and come back here, nothing works. Why is that? Because you created a function, you created a conditional statement, but what's happening on your on press? Nothing's happening. It does not have any function. So we'll go and assign function. So we created 3 functions. First is set rating as 1. That's our first function. And we'll assign set rating as 2. That's our second function. And third one is set rating as 3. That's our third function. We will save it. Hot reload works by itself. Now we already have some things. We could give it a color. We could give it a color for all the. We could make it red. Color. Colors. Red. So that will just make the border red in color like that. So what we are going to do is when we click on it, the star will be red in color. That's it. Control C. I'll just put it in every other places. 3 things. Now it should technically work. So if you press on this star, like even before we press, what's happening? Let's understand. This is the piece of code that is rendering the first star. You press on this star, what's happening? After you press, it will call a function called set rating 1. What does that function do? That function is here. This function sets the value of rating to 1. And what happens then? It comes down. Hey, is the rating greater than 1 or equals to 1? Yes. Then you will render icons.star. If it was no, by default it's no. You will render icons.star underscore border. By now right now it's no because rating is 0. The function has not been called. See, we have set the value of rating as 0. So before you press on the button, it is 0. So it's less than 1. So it renders the second component. But now it will render the first component. Let's go and test it. Yeah, that works. And that does not work. Why? Let's go and find out. Set rating as 1, greater than 1. Let's see if this one works. This one doesn't work as well. So let's go and fix whatever broke. Alright. Oh yeah, perfect. Thank you so much. So that gives us an understanding that if you don't put a variable inside set, Flutter does not watch at it. Like if you pressed on this button, I mean let's look at it. I'm going to change it back, refresh, and we will look at output in the console. So let's rerun the application. So I just want to look at the console. I mean, we are not printing it. So if we debugged in the console, the value is being updated, but Flutter is not watching at those values. Alright, so let's go and fix them. Here, set it inside 2 and set the value as 3 and re-render on the screen. I'll probably just restart the app. There we have it. If you press on the second button, both of them should be, and if the user wants to change it, give it a 1 rating, you click on it, it goes back. And you click on 3, all of them are there. If you click on the first one, you have it there. Alright, so now your class activity, I'll give you just 5 minutes to do that. All you have to do is you have to create a new function here that will set the rating back to 0. And you have to assign that function to this button. Alright, right now the button doesn't have any function. On press, nothing happens. So on press, you're going to set the value to 0. And you're not going to re-render anything on the screen. But I want you guys to look at how Flutter re-renders it. As soon as the variable changes, it will re-render the entire thing. So you don't have to say icons have to be empty. It will just rerun the entire code and it will be empty by itself. So go ahead and try that. First part of your class activity is to create a new function that sets rating to call it reset rating or whatever. Set the value of rating to 0, assign it to the button. Alright. I'm going to stop the recording here for this activity. Otherwise the file will be exceptionally large.